in. Debate's not my specialty here. But I do want
What
to
is
say
your
about Jess,
specialty?
she actually just lied in here because someone in the comment section simply said, this girl's talking about you. Meanwhile, I'd never seen this girl before in my life. She's never come up on my For You page. Why would I have as a reason to talk about other TikTokers? I don't even know TikTokers.
You talk about
I don't
me.
know your name. Yes, I see your
Wait,
lives
I've
regularly.
been in your lives before and you
But
have
I don't
talked about
talk
other
about you in my
TikTokers.
live. Why I
Okay.
go in and I comment.
Wait.
I
Have
comment
you,
in the comment section, but I don't talk about
are you going to
you.
deny that you don't talk about other creators on your lives at times? Are you going to deny that?
Give
Like,
me an
be
example because
honest.
I would like to know. I might generically say I see a lot of TikTokers do the thing with the box, and I don't do that because A, I'm not good at debate, but B, I don't think it's like watching a weird FaceTime call. So I might say something like that, but I don't call anyone out by name because that,
Okay.
like, what is the point of that?
I disagree
Give
because
me an
I feel like
example.
I've been in your lives before and I can't think of who it was exactly, but I've been in your lives before where people in the comment ask you about certain creators and you do make comments and reply. But regardless, yes, you're right. I replied to a comment that was implying that you were in the live discussing me, which happens often. I get videos of it all the time.
Yeah.
So no
I've
offense,
seen her
it's
do the
not
same thing
something
about
that's
me.
unheard
that
of.
you're more important than you are, but I didn't even know who you were. Nor
Okay,
would I
cool.
expect you guys to know who I am.
I don't know who you are, but you
because
commented on my stuff. So that's how I know who you are, because you came to my page and comment on my videos and come in my live.
Exactly.
You're a fan.
Isn't that what TikTok's all about?
No, but you're a
I don't
fan.
talk about you in a live. So you're already eliciting this like response from
I'm
your
already
people.
doing what?
This girl talks
Eliciting?
about us in our live.
I'm
sorry,
eliciting?
guys, I don't even know who you are enough to talk about you in my
I'm
live.
eliciting?
I wouldn't waste that much time. I have my own
Can you
topic.
clarify? What do you mean by I'm eliciting?
Wait, okay, don't make fun of her. Okay.
Seriously,
look,
what's eliciting? Seriously. What does it mean?
What is what?
What's eliciting?
I really want to talk to
eliciting
her.
what?
You're trying, I guess gaslighting would be another word,
Wrong.
but I don't like to use these terms that y'all use. You're trying to get your people to feel a specific reaction, like, oh, this girl, we don't like her already because she talks trash in her life.
Okay.
I'm not going to
I don't know you personally.
talking trash about other TikTokers.
I have to just make a
I
claim.
might disagree with your political views, but I wouldn't.
Butterfly, let me state. I could pull up the comments right now if you want. I wouldn't know who you were unless you came to my page and commented on my videos and commented my live stream.
Correct.
So therefore, you've inserted yourself into my content.
Into your videos, correct.
And my live stream.
I've given you my opinion on your video, yes.
Right.
Actually,
so when you insert yourself, you then can't expect me not to respond. Right?
No, you can respond. Just don't misrepresent. Like I talk about you all the time. I've commented.
I didn't say all the
like
time.
100 other people
I didn't say all the time. I said you talk about me, which is true, correct?
No, I do not talk about you outside of your live. I'm not talking about
ma'am,
you.
did I say I said you come in? Did I just say you come on my channel, my content, and talk about? Period. Did I say that?
Is that talking about you, or is that responding? I've asked questions.
Did I say something directly? Responding would be if I said something directly to you. Did I say anything to you?
You did today.
Have I ever addressed you before?
Not before today.
I think my point's been proven. So if you want to, so let's have a conversation.
Please explain to me how your point has been proven.
Because because you're coming on my page saying these things. I don't know who you are, is what I'm saying. So
well, you do now, and you just acted like you did.
Because you're on my page.
This is psychologically riveting.
No. Wait, I want to explain what he's trying to say. I want to explain what he's saying. He is saying that you have
to explain what he's saying.
No, well, I don't. I feel like you're not understanding. So let me try to I don't know. Make it make sense
for me. Yeah.
No, just make it make sense. No, not dumb it down.
This. You guys are proving my point. This is so entertaining.
Okay, I didn't say that. Actually, you did. I'm just trying to be more clear because I feel like the way Adam's saying it, you're not understanding what he's saying.
Dumb it down. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Okay. So what he's saying is you're admitting that you come on multiple videos.
You're still talking.
I don't get it.
You're still talking over. You gonna let her finish?
You are admitting that you've come into multiple videos and made comments on his content that you don't agree with. Okay?
No, I go into his live. I don't even know if I've ever commented on his video.
Well, he
commented on my video yesterday.
Okay, and then you're in the lives. You're admitting that you come into his lives and also comment. He does not normally address you. So today he chose to address you and is making the point that you've come in multiple times. You literally just said a minute ago. You just said a minute ago that I don't have time to worry about y'all's content and what you have to do and who you are. But yet your name on
here. Did I say I don't have time? I said I don't have time in my live to talk about TikTok creators that I don't even know their names.
I didn't say in your live.
If you don't know, okay, his name is literally his username. Like, you have to open his app and say Adam Cray. Like, it's not rocket science.
There's people on here that
and
like
she has
I could get
Adam
that.
Cray, by the way. She has actually said Adam Cray. But
I would really love to talk to you, like, legitimately.
Because I don't know your fucking name. Like, this is ridiculous. You guys are projecting so much.
Oh
you
my
think
God.
you're so much bigger than you are.
Argument. I don't even.
Ma'am, we couldn't
I don't
care
think I'm
less
anything.
about you, no
I don't think I'm anything. I literally just want to have a conversation with you.
No, you seriously, you guys, like, I understand. Like,
this is embarrassing.
I don't believe that the fact of how many followers I have has any bearing on the rest.
I don't
we've
either.
never talked about followers.
I had conversations when I had 20,000 followers. I don't care. I want.
This is gaslighting. Sorry, Jess, that was the wrong person.
This girl talks about me in her live.
This is gaslighting. No one here mentioned followers. No one said anything. This person came on my platform to say stuff about me and Jess. Now they're trying to gaslight you into believing we're attacking them. Yet, I wouldn't know who they were if they didn't come on my platform and make these comments. This is, in fact, gaslighting. It's honestly embarrassing. So, Butterflies, do you want to have a debate with Jess or do you want to leave? Because I'm not interested in your whatever you're doing here.
I also want to say, I told Butterflies when that incident between her and me went down, that was what I was told, and I apologize. I went back and forth in the conversation, and I took the video down, if she remembers correctly. She kept her video up of me, but I took my video down because I realized that I did not have evidence that you spoke of me, and I acknowledged it in your comment section, because even though you seem to think that I'm some fucking clout chaser, I acknowledge when I fuck up. I acknowledge if I make a mistake, and I took the video down. Did I not?
Yes, you did. But you just muted me. So how
I didn't do that. She did.
You guys control whether I can even speak. If you can mute me, how do I even stand a chance in this?
I wonder if you think this is actually working. It probably works on the people that you talk, but it doesn't work.
Okay, he's muting you because you're continuously monologuing about something that has nothing to do with our conversation.
Debates, but I'll try to debate you, I guess. But I've never tried to.
I don't even want to debate. I just want to have a conversation about things that we don't agree on. That's it. I don't want to debate. I want to have like a genuine conversation.
So is Bolsonaro a fascist?
If you have a genuine conversation, I would love to have a genuine
Butterflies, do you know who Bolsonaro is?
No, I do not.
You're kidding.
And I'm sure you're going to insult me because I
don't know. I'm asking. So that's what we're talking about today, and you were making comments that we're talking about Bolsonaro. You don't know who Bolsonaro is?
I do not.
Okay.
He
was the former Brazilian president.
I don't even remember what I comment. You said somebody's going to force me to be president, and I said that's the greatest joke I meant to write you've ever told, and I wrote I've. So that's what I commented on. I just came into your live.
So you were trolling, basically?
No, I don't. We were talking about dictatorships, okay? And the fact that under a dictatorship, you don't have the privilege of voting. So democracy is not even a thing, okay? So Bolsonaro is a well-known fascist, okay? He's a big fan of the Italian president that just won, who is got a family member of Mussolini on her administrative staff. She's also had praised the mustache man. So anyway, I don't know how, and I know that you are a supporter or were a supporter of Trump. I don't know if you still are. Again, I haven't watched your content since we had our engagement a while back. But basically, Trump was lifting Bolsonaro up to win his election. He did not. He lost it by a small margin, very similar to Biden and Trump's presidential election in 2020. And Trump, Bannon, and Mike Lindell have been pushing disinformation around on a Brazilian election. And they just had a literal insurrection charge on the Capitol. It almost looked like if you go look at the images in the video, I swear to God, it's like identical to the experience we had on our January 6th 2 years ago. And again, like this is, and I wonder sometimes how people on the right, such as yourself, and now given you don't know who Bolsonaro is, but this is someone that your former president that you supported has uplifted and praised, and he's now literally in Florida, evading prosecution in Brazil and asking the Italian president to give him safe haven.
Right.
Okay. So I can't, I mean, what do you want me to debate? If one, I don't know who this is. B, look, first of all, I want to just preface this by, I lived my entire life not caring about politics until 2019. So there's no doubt in my mind you guys have a better grasp on
Actually,
history
I
and,
grew up.
and
I
politics
grew
and
up
things.
with no politics
Let
understanding and
let
was
her finish, Jen.
conservative
Let's
Christian.
see
Yeah.
what she has. Yeah, let's just hear what she has. Go ahead. Finish
So
your
that being said, I can comment on what you just told me based on what you just told me, not based on me having a history of it. So I'd like to preface it with that. That's just because I'm transparent in the fact that if I don't know about something, I'm not going to try to debate as if I'm intelligent on a subject because I don't want to look stupid. So basically, as far as Trump lifting this person up, I can't comment on that. I don't know that. If this person is a bad person, like I'm not going to promote all of everything that Trump did. I understand why you guys hate Trump. I get it. The way he spoke, all the things he did. Like you guys react emotionally. I just try to
No.
separate the like his personality from what he tried to do by running the country. That being said, he's said some stupid fucking shit over the years. He's done
What
some
did he?
stupid shit,
So
like every president.
because you're lifting him up based on basically you're saying that we're emotional, which we're not, but you're saying that we are angry at Trump because of words, not policy. So can you point me to some policy that was beneficial to the American people under Trump's administration?
I can't name anything by actual name. I know there's a list of different things. I know that we had the lowest unemployment, and that was all different races. We
So
hit the lowest
unemployment's record
unemployment
low
ever.
right
We
now.
were more energy independent than we are now. I mean, so as long as like you want me to name all these, and then you're gonna say, give me I'd have to look them up,
No, well,
honestly.
here's the problem. Here's the problem. Okay, so first of all, the energy independence thing, that is partially true, but the reality is he also signed away some of our energy independence with a agreement that he made with OPEC prior to President Biden coming to place, which basically kind of tied OPEC's
I've heard
hands
about that.
with oil production for 2 years, so into President Biden's term. So you got COVID kind of ending, everything opening up, people traveling again, and now we can't get OPEC to produce any oil. Not to mention, we have a war going on with one of our other individuals that produce or give us a lot of our oil, Russia. And so between that and that's why globally gas prices are through the roof. So the idea that we're kind of putting that on Biden's head or saying that Trump did something beneficial to us, he actually didn't. He took advantage of a pandemic and the fact that no one was traveling and no one was really going out of their homes for several months. And he took advantage of that and lowered gas prices, but also put a stipulation for an extended period of time that surpassed the actual pandemic. So I hate that argument that's like, oh, he did this, it was really great, but it really wasn't, because the long-term consequences is harming us even now. And then on top of that, he also raised the deficit, the national deficit, by up to $4 trillion. Now it's back to pre-pandemic, actually pre-presidential rates of $1 trillion. He did that before the pandemic. Like he added $3 trillion to our deficit. And
Okay,
it's like, yeah.
so to my understanding, we were energy independent in like 2019. How was he to know there was going to be a pandemic? So I'm sure when he made this deal with OPEC, which I don't know enough about to dispute what you're saying, I'll be honest about that, as far as what went into that entire deal that he made. However, if you're trying to say like he took advantage of the pandemic, people weren't leaving their homes, things like that, how was he to know that that was going to happen when he made
So
that deal?
So how many times did he publicly say from February moving on that we'd be open in 2 weeks? Everything would be fine in 2 weeks. We're going
Because
to be fine in
everybody
2 weeks.
believed that. Everybody
Okay.
believed you guys
So,
were your
okay.
party.
Wait.
No. Your party, your Fauci even said 2 weeks to flatten the curve, and here we are in
Right.
2023,
Okay.
and people are still wearing masks alone in their car.
Okay. And then 2 months into it, Fauci made it clear that without a vaccine, we would continue to see a rise in death tolls. Regardless of that, my point is, why do you sign a deal like that if you're under the impression as president and as a society that we're going to be open and up and running in 2 weeks or 4 weeks or whatever the case may be?
When did he sign this? When did he sign this? During the pandemic?
Yes.
Okay, well, I'll have to research that because I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to try to debate you about something I don't know enough about.
Okay. And then I guess my other thing is, and I just want to point to this. A lot of people like to uplift this idea that he had a great economy without looking at the exiting president. So I don't know if you, and again, you're not politically sound. And I didn't really get politically knowledgeable until the last 6 years, personally. I grew up as a conservative Christian. I voted Republican most of my adult life. When I voted, honestly, I wasn't very active even in that aspect until 2016, and I really started to get tuned in. But with that being said, do you think that most policy and things that presidents do are going to extend 1 to 2 years into the next administration, simply because things take a while to be processed and see the product of what's being put to fruition?
I do agree that things that ex-presidents did are going to matter a couple years in, but I feel like
Okay.
going into our third year, you guys are still blaming Trump for literally everything bad that's going on in the country
So I'm
right
actually
now.
not asking. So I'm
That's
not asking in
ridiculous.
reference. So I'm not asking in reference to right now, and I actually don't
Pardon.
agree. Like, I don't think
Stay
that's true.
quiet.
I'm actually asking because of Trump's very successful first 2 years had a lot to do with an incredibly growing and prospering economy under Obama. And if you look at the trend pre-Trump, it was on the same trajectory upwards that it continued to maintain under Trump's first 2 years. Am I saying he did a good job by maintaining that trajectory? Sure, great. He also put into place a tax plan that we're still feeling right now that gives high profiting corporations better tax cuts than me as a middle class working American. So, like, what I'm trying to point out was not necessarily for right now and under Trump and Biden. I don't give a shit about that. I'm talking about the fact that Trump lucked out with a really good economy. He got COVID. In my opinion, he mishandled it with his rhetoric and his actions, and that's why he lost. But regardless, like,
And the election.
if he would have
Well,
even
see, here's the
talked a
thing,
little
though.
differently,
I
he would have
can't
won.
talk to you. I can't talk to you about what. So this is. I can't even talk to you about what I really believe about whether he lost or not, because I will be booted off of this platform, not just yours, TikTok in general.
Well, I understand
You
what you're saying.
understand that it is very strange to me that it is impossible for two different sides to completely have a perspective, because unless you have the mainstream media narrative perspective, you will be eliminated from this platform. Do you understand that that is curious? And as a country that promotes our free speech,
I wouldn't say curious.
that's fucking sucks.
So let me ask you this:
isn't
as
an American
corporations,
company, but
yeah, well, that's true. But even if we're talking about like Twitter and Facebook and other things that we know have eliminated like information or removed things, let me ask you this:
And you believe
are
that
you a bit?
TikTok's not doing that?
Wait, no, they do. I get suppressed all the time. I have CV guideline violations like every day. Like, I get them regularly. No, but let me ask you this: are you a business owner? I feel like you are, or your husband
I
is.
am, yes.
Okay.
I mean, I don't work in my business anymore, but yes.
Okay. So as a business or former business owner, do you agree that your whole goal in business owning is to be profitable, is to make a living, to be able to self-sufficient and be successful? Yes. Okay.
Correct.
So if you are a social media platform like owner, okay, and you recognize that disinformation, and I'm not using media because I don't watch bullshit media. If things that are being provably false, like you can go in and find literal statistics and data, which I know a lot of people on the right discredit 10 times out of 10. But if you can find that and people continue to post that stuff and it is impacting your revenue because ads and sponsors and people that are giving you money to exist say, I'm going to pull my fucking ads if you keep allowing this shit on your platform. Do you not realize that they are making conscious business decisions to be profitable in a capitalist society, aka the US? It's not about government involvement. It's about the fact that they know in order to make money, they have to appease the majority of Americans. And the problem is people don't want to acknowledge that a majority of the Americans disagree with this rhetoric.
And I hate to interrupt. I don't want to. I promised I wouldn't. I just want to say, can you explain to me how that's a violation of the First Amendment?
to be not able to. Okay, so this is the problem I have in the difference that I believe about whether it's liberal media or conservative media or ideology, is that we believe that you should be able to say whatever you want, and that Americans are smart enough to be able to see the difference, or
but they're not.
at the end of the day, choose to believe whatever they want. So you guys want to control that by saying that everybody is too stupid to be able to do that. So government should control what they see and hear, so that they do not have the mental capacity to be able to take something in and then decide to A, believe it, B, don't believe it, discard it, or do some research and find more about it. I believe that we should have the freedom to say whatever. There will be consequences if you say freedom, if you say something, that is inappropriate, like Kanye or something like that. You step over the line, go too far, there'll be consequences. But we all deserve the right to say it, and Americans should have the right to decide what they take in and what they do not. I do not believe that government needs to come in and do that because they think we're too stupid
but
to
we're
figure
just
it out.
I agree.
in terms of the First Amendment, though. You referenced
What I was just describing
what
was
is the
social
First
media and
Amendment?
business platforms,
The
not
freedom
government.
of speech.
Protection against whom?
The government.
From whom?
From the government suppressing freedom of speech.
TikTok is not the government now.
I understand that, but we've already, whether we haven't proved that with TikTok that there's definite interference, but we've seen with Twitter there definitely is. Everybody knows
There
that with
isn't.
Facebook.
Well, it depends
and
on
with
what you mean by
Google, with
interference.
Wait,
all these
so
things.
Matt, wait. I want to ask you a question.
You're trying
Did
to
you
tell
read
me that you don't believe that they have, when
I
I
read the
know
Twitter
that
files.
Biden actually meets with TikTokers and has them come
Okay.
to the White House
Meeting
and
with
have them running
TikTokers that
campaigns.
have
Oh, stop it.
progressive views.
No,
Wait,
that is
meeting with
true. Have you not seen
No,
him
he
at the
has.
White House?
Okay, I have. Meeting with progressive
It's not a
TikTokers and Gen
conspiracy, though.
Zers.
It's not a conspiracy. It's literally something that is being proven.
You're
I
saying that
can't
the White
imagine
House
why you guys would push against that.
determining how TikTok curates their message, and
Okay.
that's not true.
Okay.
Well, I just want to point out, though, like meeting with progressive TikTokers that have a large platform is beneficial to people like Biden for finding out what good policy they're pushing. What are they looking for? What do they want from a president? Because again, if he's running for re-election, he's going to want to know what he needs to be saying and talking and doing to appease these new young voters. Am I wrong?
And you think he's using TikTok, a platform that in the country it was made in, they promote science experiments, chemistry, all these things. Here we promote stupid fucking dances.
All right.
You think
Okay,
that
wait.
they're
Let me
using
just say something.
You think TikTok
Wait, I want to go back
is
though
the
because
place they're going to find information.
Yes.
Listen here, guys,
Do you
just
know
for
how
the
many
sake of
you're on
finishing
here.
this
You're on
conversation.
Yes, I
here
am.
making
I
political
utilize
content and
that.
getting
Guys,
a million
guys,
followers.
hold on.
Understand it.
Guys, hold
I
on one second.
understand
Just
the
for the sake of
ridiculousness of
finishing
it.
this conversation, I'm going to ask that we move off the topic of talking about where we are, like
Right.
specifically.
Okay,
so
I
we
want to
can
move off of
continue
that.
the
I
conversation.
wanted to point out first. Yeah, I wanted to point out.
But we're
because
moving
she did
off
bring up
of
the Twitter
talking
files.
about this platform, okay? Because
Okay.
it's not safe.
Oh yeah, yes. So I'm not talking about TikTok. So I just want to point out because you brought up the Twitter files, which I have read, and Matt Tiabi, the friggin' reporter that did the first leak and has done several others in addition to the other
Who is
reporters.
a liberal and now you hate him because he stood up and said,
No,
hey, this
no,
isn't
I
right.
don't hate him because you know what he said in that? He said there is no evidence of government involvement or interference. That was the 13th line of his Twitter files tweet.
Which one? Which one? The first one?
The very first one, and multiple ones have reinforced that.
But then they've gone on to release all the evidence since then.
Do you know how many people have responded, even on the right, that have said these are nothing burgers when you actually deep dive into what they say?
I've not seen anyone say that. I'm not
Multiple people
that they have said that, but I don't go on Twitter enough to know everything that everyone's saying.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, okay, so I want to go back to what you said about not giving the people, like not respecting people's intelligence. First of all, in the United States, what is it, like 50% of, or like some vast majority of the population only reads above a 55th grade level. Like we have a very uneducated population. Also, the idea that you think someone is going to intentionally seek out information that does not give them confirmation bias, in other words, seeking things outside of their echo chamber intentionally, is bullshit. People don't do that. That's literally how algorithms are built. On this very platform, if I scroll, unless I go out of my way to seek out people like you or other right-wing creators, which I do, so I do get a lot of lives that have extreme right-wing, like, views. Unless you seek it out intentionally, you do not get access to that information. So I don't agree with this idea that Americans are smart enough to look out for information and be smart. That's bullshit, because they're not. Because when they find something that confirms what they've already preconceived and believed, they will continue to seek out that information, those sources.
But you do not believe that can happen on both sides. You don't believe
I do.
that
That's why
people
I
on
look
your
at,
side
wait.
are doing
That
the
is
same
why I
thing.
intentionally, that is why I, as a intelligent individual, intentionally have seeked out information that goes against my viewpoints. And I've researched who writes that information, what their motive is, what their intentions were, what their money is coming from. I deep dive that. I do my research, as people tell me to do every freaking day when they accuse me of being a CNN simp. So, like, that's my problem. People don't do that. They find something that confirm what they say. They say it. When I go, I know what you're talking about. Did you know so-and-so wrote that? Do you know that they also made a bullshit site and sold supplements and stole money from people? So, like in vaccines, for instance. So, like, my point is, I can't trust the American people, honestly, to make good, sound decisions because they're not doing what I'm doing. Most Americans aren't doing that. My stepdad is down a fucking Q rabbit hole that believes the wildest of shit because he refuses to do that. I can't even have a conversation with him anymore because that's all he thinks. He's obsessively on his phone, scrolling Q chat. So I'm just trying to make you understand that we don't live in a society that's doing the things to learn the information to make them a better informed individual.
Of that, I don't disagree with you that on both sides, you can search and you can find information to back up any opinion that you possibly have, no matter what it is. For the most part, flat Earth, for crying out loud, can research and find plenty of scientists that are backing up what they believe, whereas I believe that flat Earth is absolutely absurd. Same with climate change. There's evidence on both sides to back up what we both believe. But do you not possibly think that it might be purposely trying to divide us? If there's so much information to back up both perspectives, like even look
It's
at
absolutely for division. No, you're right.
But
no,
there's
that's
evidence
intentional.
to back. No, please let me finish a point. I sat quietly and listened to you. So January 6th, for instance, we got the one-sided dog and pony show that was on television, but there was tons and tons of actual footage that people took on their cameras of entirely different scenes. So
I'm sorry,
no
what was
matter
that?
what we
I didn't
do,
hear.
you can back up both sides. So why are you guys always want to point at conservatives, say it's only in our camp that we're idiots and we just, if you were even moderate, now you guys consider us far-right extremists. Basically, if we disagree with Biden, you consider us far-wing extremists.
Mm-mm.
I disagree.
You don't.
And I also want to say to your point,
that. Anyone who disagrees
no, I don't.
with this administration,
My mother voted for Trump in 2016 and 2020, and I love that woman with all my fucking heart and would put my life on the line for her. Do I agree with her political views? Have I tried to have conversations with her? And she's actually moved quite a bit on many topics because of our conversations that she's misunderstood or seen misrepresentation because of my stepdad? Absolutely. Again, this is why I like having these conversations. I'm literally getting ready to run for political office and want to be able to engage and people across the aisle so that I can make fucking change in my state. So my point
what's
is,
the cell phone
I don't
footage,
agree with
though?
what you're
That's
saying. I don't think everyone's awful.
Meaning there was a lot of
people
that were there, Adam. There was a lot of people that were there that
There are. I have
a
a friend that was there that didn't enter the building, and she
All
was
right,
there
but
for
hold
good
on, Jess.
intention.
You keep talking over me. This is so pointless.
Go ahead.
So there are tons and tons of people that, of course, this footage is never going to make the January 6th that was happening on television. You know, the edited footage that was done by a documentary specialist. Of course, we're not going to see the other side. But like, I do a podcast with these two guys, and we're going to have one of the people that we're going to try to have on was actually put in jail for 3 months. But he has footage on his cell phone of them going in, things that were said. They fist bumped the guard that let them in. Like, he has footage on his cell phone of this. So you're trying to say that what people are showing with their own phone that they saw with their own eyes is incorrect, or you don't want the world to see that?
I would say that the video footage that you're seeing is not necessarily incorrect. Okay, what it is it's being misrepresented. Okay.
I also want to say, do you not recognize? Wait, no. Do you not recognize that people?
Nancy Pelosi had a camera crew in there on that day.
They always have camera crews in Congress. That's normal. They recorded. They were literally recording the vote count. They had camera people in there. That was literally a recorded event before the insurrection happened. Of course, there was camera people in there. They left with the congressional people into the rooms. Yeah, so they recorded what was going on. That makes sense. It's good footage. If I was a reporter, I'd do that shit too. But that's not my point. My point is, do you not believe that in the amount of people that have been arrested from January 6th and prosecuted have had ties to the military and the police? Do you not think there'd be some Capitol Police there that agree with what they were doing? Seriously, I'm asking you genuinely.
Well, most likely, I would assume that not all Capitol Police are left. I guess you would just hope that they would take their job seriously.
Okay, but if they didn't, like I said, there was literal active duty police and active duty military there that day. So the fact that we have active duty military and active duty police that were there that day in the insurrection participating, it's not surprising that people that are supposed to be guarding would be like, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to let this slide. I 100% believe that video your friend showed you was true and accurate. I'm also 100% sure that people literally have been seen and videoed being attacked and abused and having their heads shoved in a door and crushed by those same people when they weren't getting their way.
But I wanted to ask you a question, because from what I understand, and maybe you guys are going to dispute this or prove this wrong, but not one person was actually killed that day except Ashley Babbitt by anyone. Everyone that you guys try to say, these 5 officers The one died the next day from a heart attack that they did not prove was even related. He didn't get hit with a fire extinguisher. All that was fabricated.
Mm-hmm. No,
and
I know
then
what you're
the
saying.
other
Yeah.
ones actually unalived themselves, some of them 3 months later. But
That,
you guys are calling those deaths as if they happened
so because
that day.
no one died, that means what exactly?
So do you
Nobody
believe
died
that?
that day, but that is what you guys are saying. Even as not
But what
you
does that
guys,
mean?
not meaning you, your side, the left side.
But does that mean it wasn't an insurrection? Does that mean it wasn't a terrible thing?
I'm not saying that it wasn't a terrible day. I don't stand behind the ideology that that was a great day. That was a bad day. The way I look at it is it probably started out as a peaceful protest. Then stupid people did stupid things. When it's the whole mob mentality happens, a few people went in and a bunch of people filed in after them. I don't think that all those people had pre-organized this. I do not.
Well,
I do
what we
believe
say
there
is
were
people
people
died
that had
as a
pre-organized
result of.
something. But what do you
Yeah,
believe about Ray Epps? Please help me understand your
yes.
perspective on Ray
I've read
Epps.
his full. I've read his transcript, and the funny thing about Ray Epps is Ray Epps has been time and time again been proven to have zero ties with the government, with FBI, and yet because of his involvement and his admittance to his involvement and participation, people are immediately linking him to FBI. Like that's literally a bullshit point that was pushed by MTG and Steve Bannon, and they have amplified it to the point that now that's all people say. Whenever anyone brings up January 6th, they say Ray Epps. That is the new talking point of January 6th.
So let's just take away the idea that he possibly had ties with anyone. He's just a normal dude. There had a text message on his phone that he texted his nephew, I think, the day before.
Yes, his nephew.
I also orchestrated it or whatever. And yet they're just ignoring this. But there were people locked up that didn't even go into the building for some of them 3 months or more of time. Some people were locked up for up to a year that actually went into the Capitol building. But this motherfucker literally admitted that he orchestrated it, but nothing is happening with him. Just explain that. Let's say he has no ties.
Yeah.
Explain why that happened.
So easy. So have you ever heard of plea deals?
Of course I've heard of plea deals, but why did he get a plea deal when
because he showed all of his text messages
when they didn't do anything or orchestrate it?
Because he was showing his text messages and implicating the people that were involved with the planning.
He didn't
and the
implicate anyone that was involved. He merely bragged about the fact that he orchestrated it. He didn't name any names.
I mean, he turned everything over. He had a pretty extensive testimony. But I also want to point out that, you know who else said he orchestrated and planned it 10 months ago, and it's still today on his Truth Social pinned to the top?
Who?
Ali Alexander.
Okay, I don't even know who that is. Is that? I mean, if that name
is
is
a Trump ally, friends of Roger Stone. He just did an interview with Roger Stone 2 nights ago. He's a Trump ally. He was on the campaign trail with Trump.
I don't know.
He's a black man, thin black man. He looks kind of like Sammy Davis Jr., honestly, and sounds a little like him. It's uncanny. But yeah, he literally has that still pinned on his Truth Social that he was the leader and orchestrator of January 6th.
That he himself was?
Yes. That's literally what his top. In fact, I made a video today.
Okay, I know nothing about that. I'll look it up for sure, but I've never heard. I don't even know who he is. But
he's also been in cahoots with Bannon raising money, which I'm a little worried about because he claims he's raising it for J6 families, and he raised 10 grand in like a few hours on Cozy TV from a bunch of donators.
I do know who Sammy Davis Jr. is. Good Lord.
Okay.
Sorry. Someone in the comments section.
No worries. But anyways, no, I was just saying that, like, you know, I think that to your credit, there's absolutely people that were on the inside that were part of the Capitol Police. I think that video your friend showed you is 100% accurate. I'm not denying that. But I also think that on the flip side, there was people that were standing their ground, doing their job, and they got harmed. In regards to Brian Sicknick, I understand that they have never been able to conclude that it was a result of the events. But the fact that he was in an event like that, very traumatic.
But then why do you say that? So if you said that, then why do you spread that? What I would say.
Well, first of all, I've never spread that. But I'm just saying, I personally believe, just like you have opinions on things, I personally believe that being involved in a traumatic event like that, regardless of being hit or anything, and then experiencing a heart attack the next day is very par for the course, is what I'm saying. When you experience a traumatic event and you are in an elevated situation like that, that does result in heart attacks. We see it all the time. We literally see people die of heart attacks.
I've always said as a result of.
So do I. So do I.
But that's
never
not
said-
proven. But that's what. So that's your opinion.
But they
So
can't
that's cool.
wait. But they can't.
Well, I have
No, they can't
opinions
prove
too.
it. But Butterfly,
We
they
all have
can't prove it.
opinions.
But
I
there's
agree
no way
you
to
can
prove
have
that.
opinion, but you try to pass it off.
So you think it's
as
just a
fact.
coincidence?
Yeah, you think he just happened to have a heart attack the
It just
next day
happened
after
to
being in
pass
that
away
event?
right after.
Well, if we can't conclude it, then
Well,
I mean,
Right.
yeah, people die of heart attacks all the time. Isn't that what you guys are all saying? Is they're dropping like flies right now?
Well, they're not dropping like flies. That's also
not true.
proven
You're
false
talking
about died
that's
suddenly.
questionable.
Died suddenly.
No,
is a
died
myth.
suddenly has been disproven,
That's
but
Not all
regardless,
of it. There has been pieces of it that have definitely been debunked,
debunked.
but not all of it.
all of it's been debunked.
Did you like that documentary?
I did watch that documentary.
Did you know
yes.
that they reference people in that documentary that aren't even dead?
That what?
There are people that they talk about in that documentary that aren't even actually dead. There's actually I believe, basketball player referenced in that documentary who's playing right now.
I will.
Yeah,
go
there's a
back
lot
and
of
research
disinformation in that video. A lot of disinformation. But even
I-
regardless,
But then,
okay.
okay.
Do you believe in PTSD?
Of course I do. I've actually experienced it in my life and had therapy extensively around it.
Okay. So do you think that if you were not on the side of the Capitol rioters, okay, I'm not going to come insurrectionists because I don't want to go there. I know we'll go back and forth. If you're on the side of the Capitol rioters, not on the side of the Capitol rioters, and you are being assaulted under duress, do you think that that could trigger PTSD?
Yeah, I think. I mean, a flash of lightning can trigger PTSD.
Right. So do you not
depending
think
on
that
what
that
it's
event?
around.
Right. So do you not think that that event and having a position that's still in that place of that position of power or that
But it's
position
still
where you're
not
still
proven. I'm not discarding.
No,
that
no,
you
I'm not.
possibly
Well, no,
are
no, no. I'm not
correct.
talking about him. I'm not talking about the heart attack. I'm actually talking about the young men the men that took their own lives. Do you not acknowledge that just like we see in our vets,
Okay,
that when you
look,
experience a
so
traumatic
I
event,
will acknowledge that that is possible, absolutely, because we have veterans that come back from combat. Maybe they take their own lives here because of PTSD to do with that. But at the same time, you cannot, that if you were to say that, then you could link and blame whenever anybody takes their own life or has a heart attack on anything, when sometimes it's their own demons and it's completely unrelated. For you to just
well, one of them
tie
left
it
a
to
suicide
that
note,
is
tying it to
absolutely
that.
absurd.
Well,
You
one
don't know
of them
what that
did leave a
person was
suicide note.
thinking.
I have
One
to.
of them
I
did
have
leave a
to.
suicide note. The other one, I don't know.
So here's the thing. I have a meeting today that I have to go to, but I want to say this. I appreciate coming on. I would like to have a conversation at some point again. There's a lot to say here. I really encourage you to look at what Ep said to the January 6th committee. Have you looked at that at all? Have you?
The full
seen what
transcript.
he
I've
said?
looked at transcripts. I did not. I've seen little pieces of definitely what was said. I've not sat and extensively researched it, but I'll research whatever you want me to
Okay.
research.
So I will.
have a conversation.
Okay, and I can do that for you. That's fine. But I appreciate you coming on. I hope to have this conversation again. It's about January 6th. I mean, go read it and then come back and we can have a conversation about it.
I also want to say thank you for having a conversation. I hope I was as genuine as possible and not a total twat. Okay.
No, I appreciate it too. I just have a difficult time when everybody just insults. And Adam, although I appreciate you were really, really like humble today, but like you hurled insults so much that it made me never even want to have a conversation with you. So I do appreciate that you guys were, pretty understanding and cordial.
I mean, I say Muppet. I mean, I don't know what you mean by
Some pretty
insult.
shitty comments in the comment section, though. Let's be real. Like he's got
I mean,
some pretty nasty
saying
people coming
Muppet,
here.
saying Muppet, or
Not you,
responding-
but like other people.
Let me just say this real quick. Saying Muppet to somebody like is not really an insult, right? Like I don't body shame. I don't talk about people's looks. I don't do that.
Intelligence, though. It goes straight to if someone has a different opinion than you, they must be.
Give me an example.
Because if someone has a different opinion with you, then you have this whole, oh my God, have you taken an 8th grade history? And then you go off on just like condescending speech about how ignorant
I'll
someone
admit
is
I
because
have
they
low
disagree
tolerance
with
for.
you.
Hey, maybe it's something I need to work on. I have a low tolerance for stupidity, though. It's basically because I think that we're at a breaking point in this country. But I appreciate you coming on.
But don't you think that conversation like this is a lot more helpful than being really rude and derogatory to people?
Then wouldn't you agree that some of the comments that you've made on my page were also probably not productive in trying to entice me to have a conversation? Okay, so there we go. So then we can agree to disagree. I appreciate you coming on.
I think people do that too. I think he does it too because he wants to get people on here, and sometimes you have to trigger people to get them to have the conversation
To
to
an
get to
extent,
the point.
but anyway, I appreciate you coming on. Thank you.
All right, later.
I think that was a decent conversation. I don't think that was a bad conversation. I
do
think
too.
that some of the stuff about January 6th, though, has to be like ironed out because the stuff with apps, right? This is constantly brought up, I think, because Republicans have not watched what he said to the January 6th.
They pick that one little text message part, and that is literally what they ran with.
Right.
They ignore all the other context.
Listen, my intention is to fix the problem, right? But you have to understand, obviously, there is theater involved in being. We're not having conversations in the street right now. This is on live stream, so obviously there's theater involved in things. But yeah.
But I think the more informed people get on things, the more they move, and that's the point. That's the point. And that's why I said I'm frustrated because the idea that people are going to intentionally seek out opposing views, they're not. If you have already been caught up, especially in the last 6 years, in this narrative, in this echo chamber, the likelihood of you seeking other information out that we put out is highly unlikely.